I tell you, I know how this goes, but I want you to hear me out because I think it's a good reason to cry in a movie. It was the first 5 minutes of Disney's Tarzan just now before I came out here. Dang it. Okay. No, just get it out of your system. All right?
The first 5 minutes.
It's powerful. Did you watch the first 5 minutes of Up? Sometimes the first 5 minutes will do things to a person.
No, but I'm just sitting here thinking about like a meeting room, and they're like, okay, Bob, what do? We gotta grab them really fast, right? So you're gonna have these guys in here, and it's for the kids, right? But there's gonna be these old guys that bring their kids in. We gotta figure out how to just like punch them right in the gut.
It's a good meeting. Yeah.
So what did they do to you? What did this room full of emotional terrorists do to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, these geniuses. In the first 5 minutes of Disney's Tarzan, have you seen this movie?
No.
Well, in the first 5 minutes, they get the main character to where they need to be in order to be in a Disney movie, which is the parents need to be dead.
Right.
So they accomplish this in a freak leopard attack. So these poor people survive this horrible 19th century shipwreck, presumably off the coast of Africa. And then they come to shore and everything's okay because they saved their baby. And dude's beard is immaculate, and they make this amazing Swiss Family Robinson style treehouse, and it looks like everything's going to be good, and then a leopard just comes in and kills him.
Yeah.
All while Phil Collins is singing with his dreamy, ethereal voice. You know what else happened?
What?
Some poor mom gorilla has her little baby gorilla fall behind the caravan a little bit, and the same stupid leopard eats her baby gorilla right in front of her face.
Oh, so the leopard kills both the mama gorilla and the parents?
No. The leopard kills the baby gorilla in front of mama gorilla's face.
Yeah.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, the leopard climbs up into the treehouse and murders the mom and dad who survived the shipwreck, but doesn't notice there was a baby in there.
Oh, so the parallel is people are just like gorillas.
I don't know if there's any point. Well, actually, I think maybe I sort of do know the point they were going for with literature at that point, but this is not what we're talking about. None of that made me cry. You know what made me cry? False. Phil Collins is, singing along and everything, and it's all about, like, strength of heart and not giving up. And the dad is, like, trying to provide for his family, and so he's taken the mast from the shipwrecked ship, and he's got it on his shoulders. He's trying to hoist it up by himself, but he can't quite provide for his family by himself.
Because it's the mast of a ship. Yeah.
Because it's heavy. His wife runs over and puts her shoulders into it with him, and they make this moment of eye contact, like, we got this together. And they lift it, and I teared up. Why are you laughing? I really thought you'd apologize at that point. Be like, you know what?
No, I just think it's funny that you cry when females do things that are powerful. I just think that's funny.
That's what it is, man. I don't know. I like girls. I like it when they do cool stuff, and I like my wife, and I like my daughters, and because I've got these 3 women in my life, well, 2 are still little girls, I just get real squishy in my heart about it. You want to know something else that made me cry in a movie?
What's that?
Too bad, I'm telling you. Do you remember the part at the end of the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man when finally Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire like have a minute to themselves and there's sirens or something, and he looks out the window like, I'm supposed to go and do brave things. And she's like, go get him, Tiger.
Yeah.
I was like, that was awesome. And that's what I'm married to.
Yeah.
So it made me feel things inside. But you keep laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at you. Yeah, I'm totally laughing at you. I'm totally laughing at you.
Yeah, because I can hear it because of how we're on the phone together.
No, the funny part is that you have a weakness. That's the funny part. That's funny.
Why is that funny?
I don't know. That's funny. It's just
good to have that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely good. It means you're human. Yeah, it's definitely good.
Yeah. It is crazy, though. Like, I know we've made a joke out of it these last few years. Like, the little girls running and doing brave stuff. But it is every stinking time. We went and saw Alita Battle Angel in Puerto Rico, which was not special at all. But it's a girl cyborg, and she fights bravely against things that are bigger.
Yeah.
It can be the crappiest movie in the world, and I'm still just like, go get him, girl. Nice job. And I feel things.
I don't consume as much media as you do. I think that's what it is. It's very difficult for me to get lost in a movie.
When's the last time it happened?
I'm trying to think.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time I sat down and watched a thing on. I'm watching the Man in the High Castle with Tara. We watch like one every week, maybe like one episode a week.
That's incredible restraint.
There's just a lot going on.
Thing is, though, for me and what I do, story and writing and structure and character kind of is my job too. It makes me better at what I do.
I don't know.
You're not sure you believe me.
No, I believe that that's true for you. I'm just trying to think about how I create stories and things of that nature. I guess if you think about what I'm doing lately, it's more nonfiction. And you're doing nonfiction as well, but I think allegory and metaphor is more important in your work.
I think so, because I deal in abstraction. But like this last video you did, that was pretty tangible.
Yeah.
You blew crap up.
Well, I didn't. I just monitored the crap that was blowing up.
But you opened the video with 4 straight clips of you shooting things or blowing things up, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I did blow stuff up. So,
okay, there we go.
For the third chair, so I made a video with a 4-star general about the future of warfare. It's all this 4-star general's idea, General Brown, U.S. Army Pacific. So the way it went down is, as we may have mentioned before, he contacted me and he was like, hey, would you like to record your last mission and then interview me, and then we'll have a discussion about the future of what's called multi-domain operations, and then you can put it on your little YouTubes there, you know?
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, he didn't say that, but that's the, I'm doing the hand waving-ness, that's kind of the impression. He's like,
well, he's a 4-star general. He worries about bigger things.
Exactly. And he's like, I know you do the internet stuff. Why don't you I'll give you some information and you can put it out there so people can consume it. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I interviewed the guy, and it's just fascinating. Like, I feel like I've been a pawn on a 3D chessboard for 15 years, and I don't really understand my role. To me, it's a really big deal. Like, I understand we have to know exactly what the bad guy's doing right here and blah, blah, blah. But he is the mastermind, or one of the masterminds behind the bigger picture. Diana Cowern, she's Physics Girl online, she was explaining to me the concept of 4D chess. And the way 4D chess is played, to hear her describe it, is there's several 3D chess boards. You've seen like the multi-layered chess boards look like a wedding cake kind of thing? Sure. So imagine 3 of those side by side. And so you're playing 3D chess on one of the boards, but you can make the move across any of the chess boards that are side by side. So they call that 4D chess. General Brown's role is to play one of the 3D chess boards, and then he reports back to an overall commander that ties in all these different theaters of operation. So he is controlling a very complicated sphere of influence, but that ties into a bigger picture as well. I'm a little bitty pawn somewhere on the board, and so just to be able to have the opportunity to sit down with a person that strategizes a conversation, and furthermore realize that the conversation itself is part of the strategy, like, that was fascinating. And so I made up my mind. Once I understood what was going on, I was like, I'm just going to ask him, because I spoke to this guy, Lieutenant Colonel Davis, at the Asymmetric Warfare Group at Training and Doctrine Command, and he explained multi-domain operations to me. And he explained that the way multi-domain operations work in the future of war is you have several domains of military operation, and that's land, sea, air, space, and cyber.
And heart, cyber, okay.
And so he also argued that there may be a
That's kind of funny, because cyber sort of is heart.
It is. But he said there is this 6th domain, potentially, that's the human domain, which is basically what people are thinking and feeling.
Okay, that's hard.
And so I realized pretty quick, I'm about to go talk to Brown. He wants me to make this video so that it's out there on the internet. Like, he's trying to put a message out there in the cyber domain to potentially affect things that happen in sea and land and things of that nature. I was like, holy crap, this video is a weapon. And so I made my mind up that I was going to ask him. And to my surprise, when I said, is this video a weapon? I hit him with it cold. I was expecting to knock him off his feet, right? And he said, absolutely. And I was like,
it was a really reasonable expectation that you would knock a 4-star general off his feet, and then he'd run out of the room crying like the atheist professor in all those Christian email mails.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the chalk didn't break.
Yeah.
I get it. So no, he was made of sterner stuff, huh?
It was impressive. Like, he just owned it. He's like, absolutely, this is a cyber weapon, and I hope it works. I hope it's a countermeasure to anybody that thinks they can blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa. So the difference in the cyber operations that's happening from all these rogue nations that are funding this stuff is that General Brown's doing it in the open. He's just walking out onto the battlefield in the cyber domain, and he's like, hey, all of you, I'm calling you out.
It's been a few episodes since this topic came up, and I know you've been working on this for, months?
Forever, yeah.
And you did like a 30-tweet Twitter thread, maybe in, last month before, whatever. And I guess if a tweet can go viral, that's kind of what it did. What's been the response from people? What has come out of this? Are people getting what you're saying?
Here's the upshot. So after I went out and did RIMPAC, which was the Rim of the Pacific exercise in the Pacific, and for the third chair, essentially, I was filming missiles striking a ship and torpedoes striking a ship in the Pacific Ocean that were being fired from shore. A Norwegian missile was used, and also the Japanese fired a surface-to-ship missile. And so my job was to film that to understand warhead effects on target, also engagement position, things of that nature, other things they wanted to know that I helped them get. I think General Brown's idea was to put it out there so everybody could see it. Now, thinking about all that and then learning about multi-domain operations in this cyber warfare component, I didn't really understand what he was saying at the time, to be completely honest. I come back home and I'm working on the video and I'm having to get all the military footage I used had to be approved. So I'm waiting on all that junk and I'm trying to formulate my message and all that. So at the beginning of February, I see this video in my YouTube subscription feed or my suggested videos or however it works. And it says something about Trump and Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at it and I was like, oh, wow, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm just right down the middle right now at this point in my life. So this seems like an important political moment, though, and then I look down and it's got like 135,000 views, and it was uploaded yesterday. I was like, whoa, that looks like real news. Like, that looks important. So open it up, and I kid you not, it is a robotic voice. Someone had programmed a robot to read a script, and they had automatically put video over the top of this script. And it was upvoted like thousands of times, and there were hundreds of comments on this thing. And all the comments were like extremely political, one way or the other.
And a little bit incoherent.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have not seen the video, I haven't seen the comments, but I know the kind you're talking about.
Yeah, and they're all like, oh, RBG is dead, they're just propping her up and whatever, all this weird stuff. I'm sitting there trying to digest it, and I was like, this isn't real. Like, none of this is real. But it's sitting here on YouTube, and it's got 135,000 views, which is an incredible amount of views. For example, your Greek Orthodox video, it's done that, right? It's doing great.
Yeah, it's done that.
And that's a big deal, right? Like, it's taken you a long time to work to that level, correct?
Yeah, getting 150,000 views or whatever it is on a video, that's a big deal for me.
And that's something you've worked for years and years and years as a human, like
Yes.
intentionally creating content, right?
Engaging with people, trying very hard.
This just seemingly happened overnight, out of nowhere. And so I was like, okay, something's up. I understand YouTube. I understand countermeasures in the military sense. I'm going to start looking at this. I'm going to start figuring this out because General Brown told me about multi-domain operations. He told me about this cyber warfare. I'm not an idiot, and I know just enough about all these things to try to piece a story together here. So I just spent an afternoon researching this thing.
So your first clues are, that's a lot of views in a hurry for something of incredibly low quality.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, this is one of those ridiculous, awful robot voice things. And the comments seem super inflammatory and grammatically problematic.
And the thumbs up to thumbs down ratio on this video was super high positive. Super high.
On an obviously awful video.
Yes. I was like, there is no human that would click thumbs up on this. Like,
Right.
knowingly.
Did the video provide any value to you as a viewer whatsoever?
No. it did not.
Okay.
It started off with something like, oh, you know what? I can just get the voice. Here, let me just
nice.
let me just drop in a little bit of this here. So this is how the video starts. It has like this fake newsy look to it, and you know it's got like a globe spinning and all this like you know all this music like you would see on the old breaking news things.
Yeah, like you paid $50 on Pond 5 for some stock footage of news.
Yeah, and then it rolls in with this audio. Listen to this.
This is awful animation.
You see how bad?
This is awful animation.
You see how bad that is?
It's terrible. It's slow. Like, why would anyone even keep watching at this point?
Listen to the
It's-
voice.
I'm not even to the voice yet.
Oh,
Washington today. After Trump sends message to RBG, he breaks silence on big plans for Supreme Court. President Donald Trump spoke about Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's ailing health earlier
Bader
this week
Ginsburg?
and revealed
Yeah, exactly.
that he might nominate
This is
if she
terrible.
retires. During an interview with the Daily Caller,
Oh, this is
Trump
clumsy.
Ginsburg
Yeah,
denounced
so-
Bader
All right,
because
I'm
he
done.
nominated
yeah.
the
So that
Awful. I'm uncomfortable watching it.
after I identified this behavior, YouTube started shutting it down because I made it popular in this Twitter thread. But I was able to save a couple of them beforehand because I knew it was going to be weird. So those things had like hundreds of thousands of views. It had a huge like to dislike ratio. So where does your brain go? Obviously, this is inauthentic.
Obvious fraud.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is. But how do you amass hundreds of thousands of views? And so I was like, what up? So I wrote a script out. I listened to the words that they were saying, and I typed all of them out in a notepad file.
Yeah, I called you when you were in the middle of that. It's about the hardest you've gone. Can't talk, brain engaged, bye, in a really long time.
I did do that, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, it was full Heisman stiff arm.
It was worth it, though. I was in the
Genius at work. Excuse me, please.
This episode of No Dumb Questions is sponsored by HelloFresh, a meal kit delivery service that brings food to your house. It's like mailing you Tasty Yummies. Do you get Tasty Yummies mailed to your house, Matt?
Yes, you know dang well that I do, and you know dang well that I like it. And
I know dang well.
I've guessed about this before, but I'm a sucker for good branding and clear, simple communication. I'm one of those guys. Like I was unpacking Walmart furniture, and I opened it up as a bookshelf, and I was like, oh no, 6 pages of instructions with drawings? I don't know if I can, and I can always figure it out. But HelloFresh, I open the package, I take out the card, and I immediately feel like I can do this.
I know exactly
It's
what to
so
do.
well presented.
Oh yeah, they have to have some type of psychological people on staff that help make these, and graphic designers that make these recipe cards, because they're amazing.
To me, they're like how I felt about getting baseball cards that I prized when I was a kid. I love my HelloFresh recipe collection. It's like a wall of fame of all of the stuff that I learned how to cook.
And right there at the front is Steak and Sass. That's where like you're Wade Boggs. No, you weren't Wade Boggs. You were George Brett, right?
Thank you. You know what? We're good friends. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for listening. Cal Ripken.
Yeah, Cal Ripken Jr.
See, I'm paying attention too.
Yep. So you're saying Steak and Sass would be your George Brett rookie card?
Yeah, I'd frame that and get it signed. Like if Steak and Sass was doing an event, like at a local mall or something, I would definitely go over and have Steak and Sass just dribble its signature all over my card. Absolutely.
All right, that's it. So let's tell people what they can do. So the point is, you too can have HelloFresh. You can go to HelloFresh.com/NDQ80 and enter the promo code NDQ80 at checkout. That gets you $80 off your first month, and that is like $20 off the first 4 boxes. So it's like getting 8 meals for free. And you get to go to the website and pick out what kind of meal you want. It's kind of a thing. We go through and we look at all the meals together every once in a while, and we'll pick them.
The grocery store overwhelms me.
Yeah.
I get lists. I go. I love my wife. I want to be supportive and helpful, but it's kind of like how I feel about the instructions for the bookcase. It's just a little too much. I can't picture everything I'm going to need or how it's all going to go together. But I like the idea of going on the internet and looking at beautiful pictures of food that I want to eat and being like, I want that. I want that. I don't know how to get it or what, but I want it in my face. So just send that to me, and then I'm going to make it and eat it. And so it's like cool, complicated, good food is now possible for me, and I get to participate.
I would kind of disagree with the complicated part. It is complicated in that when you get done, you're like, I have no right to make something this awesome because I just made a sauce, and I'm not smart enough to do that. But it's not complicated to actually do it.
No, by complicated, I mean the taste.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know how fancy, like, sommelier wine people are? I was like, no, this is complicated. Right. I don't know what they're talking about. It just tastes like wine to me. But the food, I get it. I understand with the first bite, this is different than, there are more flavors happening here than what I would do left to my own ends. And I like that I'm trying to sort through all of the things that make it delicious.
Right.
No, it's ridiculously easy, which is my point about the instructions. To get something that is so complex, that's the term.
Complex.
In taste without being complicated, that's kind of the sweet spot.
That sounded good. Complex in taste.
Did that work?
Yeah, you should tell them that. Okay, so here, let me just do the promo code one more time just so people get it. So get $80 off your first month by going to HelloFresh.com/NDQ80 and enter NDQ80 at checkout. Again, that's like getting 8 meals for free. That's $20 off your first 4 boxes. You're going to dig it.
Absolutely. Thanks again to HelloFresh for being a part of No Dumb Questions. And thanks again to HelloFresh for being a part of Dinner at the Whitman household.
In the Sandlin household as well. Rock and roll. I think it was important. I think it's going to be very important.
It was important.
Yeah. And so I typed all that stuff out, and then I went to Google, and I would enter different sections of the text. And so there's this thing on a YouTube video where they have an automated captions service, and those captions are inserted in the metadata for each YouTube video.
Okay.
And so you can search for words on Google, and that will roll it into the YouTube search. Am I making any sense? I'm not using the words correctly.
I'm going to go with yes-ish.
So if I search for words that are typed in a script, it will search the automated caption files for each YouTube video.
Right. Yeah, I'm tracking.
Okay. So I just did that. I found dozens of videos of this exact script, which if you think about it, the script is the hard part to write. Dozens of videos of this exact script, but the things were different in the video. For example, the automated voice was different.
Really?
The images on the screen were different. What's it called? The Carl Burns effect? Is that what that's called?
Ken Burns.
Ken Burns. The Ken Burns effect was used, but it was used from different starting point keyframes.
So you're keyframing from a different anchor point.
Exactly. So all these things were happening, and the reason they did that is because the way the YouTube Content ID algorithm works is you hash an image. So every frame on a video is hashed. They take all the pixels, they add them up, and they come up with a number. And that number is how they compare Content ID. It's a really complicated thing, but if you change the footage enough, you can get around the hash function Content ID system on YouTube. So it's a countermeasure.
That's why a lot of videos you see where people are scamming someone else's content, they'll goof with the aspect ratio, they'll stretch the image, they'll crop it awkwardly, goofy stuff like that. Like in any of the channels that just harvest stuff from cable news and then show cable news segments, they all use that trick.
And if you think about it, that's a legit countermeasure, right?
Yeah, it's a legit countermeasure because some stuff is fair use.
But it's more than that. So these people know they're stealing something, and so YouTube has developed a countermeasure to fix that, and that is Content ID system.
Yeah.
Well, then these people go one step further, and they take these stretch mechanisms or whatever, and they create a countermeasure. And so I'm thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, this is war is what this is. This is just the escalation of how these things work. And
and at what point will YouTube update their counter measures to run that hash over everything, but to run it in different aspect ratios and to compress it and stretch it to try to catch any of those tricks?
Exactly. So
they'll figure it out.
I decided to get on a plane and go to YouTube. But before I did that, let me explain some of the other things they were doing. My assumption is that they were creating dozens of these videos, and the idea is they would go in with these sleeper login accounts, and they would upvote these videos and create inauthentic behavior on the videos to make them look like they were good and make them rise up in the YouTube algorithm. But more importantly, if you do this and people start clicking on these things, it'll start suggesting similar content. So in my mind, what they're doing is they're creating dozens of videos that look like the same thing, and they artificially inflate them using their sleeper accounts or whatever they're doing, and have those videos recommend similar videos. And if you do that enough, eventually one of these videos will rise up out of the algorithm as the most suggested video, because all these other ones will funnel into it. This algorithmic momentum will be channeled into one of these videos, and it'll rise up above the noise floor of the YouTube algorithm, and suddenly real human eyeballs will start to see it. Does that make sense?
It all makes sense, and I'm tracking with what you're arguing in terms of how it happened. That squares with my experiences and observations on YouTube.
Okay.
But, like, the billion-dollar question, who did it, and what are they trying to accomplish?
Okay, so my next theory was, because this is political in nature...
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No, you're perfect. That's perfect.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're a guy who can literally just jump on a plane and go to YouTube. Like, I didn't want to derail you.
What do you mean?
A minute ago, you're like, well, so I had a question, so I decided to just jump on a plane and go to YouTube. Like, well, sometimes I have questions, but I rarely jump on a plane and go to YouTube to ask.
Well,
like, I'm glad you're on a first-name basis with them.
Well, this is kind of how it went down. When I did this big Twitter thing, I just basically outed that the behavior was happening. I was like, I think people are manipulating the algorithm.
Yeah.
My gut reaction wasn't YouTube bad, let's all hate YouTube, because that's what the world does right now. And get to the bottom of this, and they're like, yeah, we have to work it through all these official channels, but please come out. We want you to understand, because we know you're going to do the smarter everyday thing, but we want you to understand so you can do it right. I was like, thank you. And so I did that. I got on a plane, went out there, and I talked to people. And I've got an upcoming series on that.
We're not going to talk about everything that happened there, because you have an upcoming series on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to hold some punches back, but the upshot is,
That's fair.
this is what I learned. Like, this is going to be the punchline in the videos. This is a complex engineering problem. They are literally under attack every single day. And for us to sit back and think that it's a bunch of humans at YouTube that have malicious intent, that just are lazy and not doing anything, or these humans at Twitter, these humans at Facebook, oh yeah, they just don't get it. They're just letting all this bad stuff happen. That is a naive, self-centered, childish look at how these things work.
Wow.
Because however complicated you think this stuff is, it is orders of magnitude more complicated than that.
Okay, but, all right, I hear you on that. But how on earth does it help someone's cause to make an awful news video? I mean, from what I saw, there was no real opinion or angle in the video. It was just kind of a lazy repetition of some bizarre comments the president made. Like, you don't need Russian bots to attack YouTube in order to feel like from time to time the president makes goofy comments. I mean, whether you find that endearing or not is another question. But I don't see what the upside is of that particular example.
Okay, let's just go into this. So my assumption was that this was an ideological attack where these people wanted us to hate each other. So they're going to get to the most divisive issue possible at the time, which is politics. And if you listen to the text of what that bot is talking about, it's like taking a very Democrats think this, aren't they bad kind of approach.
Oh, okay, so I turned it off too soon.
So my assumption was they're trying to get Republicans and Democrats to hate each other.
Okay.
So I went out there to YouTube, and I even alluded to that in my little Twitter storm there. I went out there, and they're like, no, that's not what this is. I was like, what do you mean? Look at it. They're like, it works like this. The goal for people in developing nations is to make money. And if they can figure out a way to make money from a computer farm, they're going to do it. And so these attacks are motivated for two different reasons primarily. Number one is financial. If they can figure out a way to create incentivized content, and the incentive is getting money from advertisements, they're going to do it.
Yep.
And I asked them, I was like, how much money do you think they're putting behind making this kind of content? And they're like, millions of dollars. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, think about it. If they can figure out a way to make money on our system, they're going to do it. And they're going to play within the rules. This is the thing. All this junk is within the rules. They're going to make this content and try to game the system in any way possible in order to send money to themselves. And so that's why you slowly are seeing the bar being raised
these platforms. You hear people complain now, well, I can't become a YouTube partner because I don't have X thousand subscribers. And the reason is because if they kept the bar low, then all these machines could jump over the bar. You see what I'm saying?
I do. The thing that's interesting, though, is, at least in the example you're giving me, the thing that whoever this is, from wherever they are, believes that can get our attention and earn clicks is divisive stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They're smart enough to know that's what works.
Yeah.
And I'm smart enough to know that's what works, even when it's tongue-in-cheek. If I make a video that's right through the front door, like, here's some stuff about some things from the Bible, I've got a good subscriber base, and they will watch that and will engage, and it's a good experience. But if I make stuff that is pushing back on fringe, bizarro ideas, I'll get double the views on that kind of a video, just because there's tension and disagreement built into the premise of the video.
I'm about to blow your mind, dude. What I'm about to show you, you have not thought about yet, because I had not thought about it a week ago, and I'm knee-deep into this stuff.
If you hadn't thought of it, then I definitely haven't.
Shut up.
Because of how our brains both are.
My point is,
No, go ahead.
I'm knee-deep into
It
this.
needed to be said.
It needed to be
That
said.
needed to be said.
I apologize. Okay,
That
this is going to
save
blow
it
your
for
mind.
yourself. Okay, all right, blow my mind.
Okay, go to watchit.com, WOCHIT.com.
Right now?
Yes.
All right. Watchit.com. All right, I'm there.
Okay, for the third chair, explain exactly what you see.
Exactly what I see. Okay, it looks like the kind of thing that you can log into, so this is some kind of personalized thing. We love video, so we built the predictive video creation platform that you'll love too. Create impactful videos now.
Okay, watch this. This is absolutely mind-blowing. I want you to think about you being YouTube, right?
Okay.
You create this platform, YouTube, and the idea is all these people are going to make videos about things they love, and they're going to upload it, and then you're going to create these artificial intelligence ways to go through all these videos and make sure there's no violence or gore or nudity or things like that, right?
Yeah, mostly works.
Yep. Okay, so along comes things like Watch It. Scroll down.
Okay.
So just describe what you see here. What does this service appear to be?
It looks like video editing software. That's what I'm seeing next. Primitive video editing software. It's not good stuff. Your deadlines. 108 million licensed assets.
Okay, now stop right there. You see 108 million editorial and creative license assets. So they gather up all these images and they do things like that. Scroll down in the next line of stats. This is what I want you to stop and think and listen to your brain and what it's telling you about these numbers that you see. Scroll, read. Video's trending now. What do you see?
Whoa. Wow.
There's a third chair here, Matt. You got to explain what you're saying, man.
Yeah, well, I'm drinking it in, buddy. It's kind of a lot. You came to this prepared. Holy cow. Okay, so what they're saying is in the last month, they have mushed together a collection of 108 different editorial and creatively licensed clips or images.
108 million.
108 million.
Numbers matter right now. Yep.
1.6 million videos in the last month.
Okay, how many videos did it say they created today?
59,000.
Wrap your brain around that.
I'm trying. I scrolled through my YouTube channel, taking stock of where things were at, I don't know, a few days ago. I was like, wow, look at this. Like, I covered this entire book of the Bible. I covered this whole series of topics, all this history stuff. It's like 250, 260 videos. And I think about how much time and care and individual writing went into each of those. And that's like 250. This is 59,000 videos created today.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're like Taco Bell menu videos where you just take the handful of ingredients and just mush them together in slightly different ways and try to pass it off as something original.
So this does several things. So this is the weaponization. I'm going to use the term weaponization loosely here. This is the weaponization of content creation. So if you can create 59,000 videos today on whatever topic your people are paying you to do, because you're using these artificial intelligence engines to create these things, you enter a script, you enter a digital content asset library. So let's say we're going to mix in some videos about Trump and Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the Supreme Court from the outside and the White House, and then we're going to shake it all up and we're going to pour out the Yahtzee dice and we're going to see what video we get. And we're going to do that 2,000 times today. And we're going to have these machines make us 2,000 videos, and we're just going to slam them on the internet, and we're going to try to saturate what's going on.
Something will hit with that many.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Because it's only sort of merit-based. But look at this. It's ready to publish. Customize your daily video creations into your own fresh branded story. That'll take 1 minute.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Can you imagine making a YouTube video for your channel in 1 minute that would provide value to a viewer?
Right, exactly.
That's impossible.
But here's the thing. Okay, this is the brain melting part. So are you beginning to wrap your brain around the scale of using artificial intelligence to create online video content?
And this is only one service.
This is one service that's above board. This is a for-profit, non-state funded service that is doing it in the open.
How on earth can YouTube stay ahead of this?
Imagine what's happening.
I can't imagine. Okay, here's another thing, dude. I think about stuff from my genre. I know you pay more attention to things from the genre in which you work, right? You're comparing notes, seeing what's working, what other people are doing, celebrating successes of others, maybe rolling your eyes at silly stuff from time to time. I do the same in my genre, and my genre, unlike yours, just sucks. It's rough. There's not good content. It's combative. It's weird. Religious content on the internet is not usually very fun. It's really cool when you run into something that's great. One of the things that blows my mind is when I go to get started on writing my next video or whatever, and I just go to check out what's already out there, and I will always find 4 or 5 complete trash videos. Nobody on screen, stock footage garbage, and a script that was written almost like it was written in another language and then run through a translator bot. And I will see these from time to time be wildly successful. And so part of what's blowing my mind right now is I'm finally understanding how that can happen. And honestly, that's a little bit less discouraging. So there's some upside to this.
The story I want to tell is you, YouTube person that's angry because YouTube did something wrong, do not understand the engineering problem that these people are trying to solve. This is an impossible thing to stay ahead of.
Can you imagine what it would take, how much money and manpower and man hours it would take to go through and manually delete just the 1.6 million videos that were shared from Watchit.com alone last month?
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
So they create these artificial intelligence countermeasures, right?
They have to.
So YouTube creates a platform. Watchit weaponizes AI for content creation. YouTube creates AI countermeasures. And by the way, the Watchit AI has countermeasures built into it to get around the YouTube terms of service stuff, right? So
Of course.
YouTube has to create AI with countermeasures to sniff all this stuff out. And then at that point, we've got bots fighting each other. And so YouTube is trying to stay ahead of this. But think about this, Matt. If you were to take 1.6 million, 1, 2, 3 zeros, okay, that's 1.6 million. If you were to take 1.6 million videos and you were to develop AI that could take out 99.9 of these, right? So we're going to let 0.01 slip through the crack.
Okay.
How many is that?
Like 1,000?
Yeah, you're still getting all this stuff through. So let's imagine the bad guys want.
Is it 1,000? I didn't add it up. Is that how much it is?
I think so. Hold on. 1, 6, 0, 0, 0, 0 times 0.001
is what you want.
times 0.001 equal 1,600. Yeah, 1,600 videos would still get through.
Okay, but here's the other question.
Yeah.
In getting that whittled down to 1,600 videos, and we really should have been able to do that in our heads.
So we should have.
Now you've run the math on it, I'm feeling pretty embarrassed.
Yeah.
Did you know that we do base 10 here with our numbers?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really convenient little tricks that you can use because of that. It's crazy. 10 fingers is amazing. You do professional math, right? Engineering for a living.
Move on to your point, Matt.
Okay, I was just checking. I wasn't absolutely for sure. So just think about in an effort to purge 99.9 whatever percent of that, how much collateral damage is there going to be as well?
Exactly.
It's not just, here's how much gets through, it's here's how much good stuff gets caught in the filter. And this gets me to connecting some dots here. And I'm going to ask the third chair to be patient here, because I know that people from a whole variety of points of view listen, and I appreciate that. There's been a lot of talk lately, whether fair or not, that social media seems to be more interested in pushing back on fringe stuff that tends right than pushing back on fringe stuff that tends left politically. Fair or not, that's the accusation, that's the observation.
I have a new theory on this, but go ahead. See if you arrive at the same theory.
That's where I'm headed right here.
Yes.
And I will go only so far as to say, though I am not a rightist, I see some evidence to support that assertion. I see sometimes that it seems exaggerated. But what about this? What if people overseas who either, one, want to spread division, or two, just want to make a buck by monetizing division, what if they've figured out that the way the left responds to crazy right stuff is more likely to draw numbers than the way the right responds to crazy left stuff? And as a result, they do a whole lot more crazy right stuff because for whatever reason financially that's more beneficial. And as a result, groups like YouTube create their countermeasures, and so more stuff that looks to you and me like it leans right gets caught in those countermeasures, and maybe there's not a grand conspiracy. Am I crazy?
You're not. Let me say it a different way. Okay, so you're saying maybe it's intentional that attacks are happening on the right more.
No. Well, maybe it's intentional from the malicious actors that we imagine are overseas. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to speak in stereotypes, and that's always dangerous. But is a young person or an older person more likely to be on the left?
I just saw a poll about this. The only age group where a slight majority favors socialism as an economic system is like the 18 to 22 window. So yeah, younger equals more left historically.
And so older would be more right, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Who did telemarketers target?
I just watched 2 videos today of IRS scammers calling people, intelligent people who caught it, but I know people who've been suckered by it, and they're not young.
Right. So, if you're going to spend time making videos to try to sucker people, who are you going to...
Oh, golly.
Yeah, you're going to attack the older generation. The older generation tends to be more to the right. Therefore, this is the transitive property of Destin hand-waving YouTube data. Therefore, they are more likely to create inauthentic behavior on the right.
Because the people who tend right.
Therefore, YouTube's algorithms are going to have to be applied across the board to the right more.
Yeah.
And then you have collateral damage, and when you have collateral damage, you get one YouTuber with a voice making a video saying how they're being suppressed.
Yeah.
You see what's happening here.
Okay, all right. But hold on. Let's also be honest. The different parts of the country lean very heavily in certain directions. I remember when I lived on the north side of Chicago in 2004, when Barack Obama was running for Senate, there were like 8 votes in that entire district that weren't for... There are parts of the country that lean dramatically right and dramatically left. And come on, the Bay Area is as left as the country can be. It's not the craziest thing to suggest that most people working on social media companies in the Bay Area are going to have preferences that lean left, right? I shouldn't have said left, right, but you know what I mean.
I'm waiting for your point.
Okay, so my point is, if I'm Joe Blow on the internet and I hear what you and I are saying, I'm thinking, those seem like credible theories.
Okay, so
Also, we're all victims of our biases, and I suppose it could be possible that people in social media might have biases, and they might try to inflict that on the algorithm.
Okay, it took me a second to figure out what was going on there. I thought you were presenting this as a logical truth, but I realize now you were presenting what a person may think about the truth. Because I know you're a well-adjusted human, Matt, and you know that people have their own ideas.
Yes.
And you're less likely to stereotype employees of a...
I'm not really into that.
Yeah. So it took me a second to figure out that you were presenting an alternative reality or whatever. So
I see what you're doing there, but I would say I'm a solid
a solid percentage with that crowd. I mean, come on. We know how California votes. We know that that's a pretty left area. We know that Texas tends to be a little bit more right area. So I could see how someone looking in would say, I don't want to hear you guys' silly opinions. It's just bias. And you're telling me that you think there's an explanation that is more than just bias.
So the person that escorted me around Twitter was from Texas. The person that I was introduced to at Facebook was from Canada originally. Like, these people go to this area because they're really good at math. They're really good at computer science. So I will say this. If I had to describe the application of how these AI algorithms work, like directly, I would say they are libertarian in application.
Yeah, I like that language.
Yeah. I truly believe, now, I don't know what motives you want to assign to whatever my words would be. And this is the hard part. For me to make this YouTube video, people are not going to believe what I say. And that's cool, whatever.
Oh, people are going to light you up.
Oh, they're going to light me up.
If people light you up saying that you're a NASA mind control lizard shill for suggesting that the Earth has curvature, they're going to light you up over this.
What sucks is that what you just said is not an embellishment. That's happened.
I'm well aware. Remember, we happened to do a video together that involved space.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so you were something collateral damage.
I'm also a lizard man NASA shill now, and haven't been able to shake that label.
Oh yeah, you did. You were in one of those. That's fun. So
I was, and you were in one of mine on the same topic.
Oh, that's a
shill.
That's great. Sheeple. Okay, so when I interviewed Obama, I got lit up from the right. When I interviewed Ivanka, I got lit up from the left. People are going to try to crucify me over this, but I really believe, having had the closed-door conversations with the people in control of these things, it's not an organization out to get you. It is a group of computer scientists in a cubicle farm under legitimate attack from external forces, and they're losing sleep at night trying to beat them. Like a military scale, millions of dollars behind these attacks. And these people are trying to shield us, society, from these attacks. And while they're doing it, they're screwing up at certain times, because this is not a deterministic problem. It's not 2 + 2 = 4. These are algorithms that are using image recognition and like all these different things. It's a probabilistic approach to what people expect is a deterministic problem.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's not. There is no winning this war. Here's the technique. And everybody across the board, every organization I went to and said, how can you possibly beat this? I said, I'm an engineer. I understand the problem you're up against is not deterministic. The average person that uses your platform has no idea. They just know that Welby Chubbs 384 has been downvoted because YouTube hates his ideology in their minds. And they're like, yeah, and that keeps us up at night, because we truly want everyone to have a voice. We want liberty. We want people to be able to be them. But the problem is, as we apply these algorithms to try to save society from all this crap, there's collateral damage, and we're getting flack for that, and we hate it, and we're doing our best to try to fix it. And so you have other people that are calling for regulation. They're like, well, why don't we just regulate this stuff? But here's the thing.
Yeah, great idea. Well, fortunately, there's no real historical sample to draw on to know what happens when governments regulate media, or else maybe we could be more educated in how we proceed. Oh, wait. We've got a century of what happens when governments regulate speech and the media. And it's baffling to me that those calls, and I will try to dial down the political rhetoric starting right now, but it is baffling to me that those calls are coming from the right now.
Here's the other thing. If you think for a second that YouTube wants this junk to happen, or Twitter wants this junk to happen, or Facebook wants this junk to happen, you're absolutely wrong.
Of course. Or that the government could fix it. If YouTube can't fix it, the government can't fix it.
I won't subscribe to that line of reasoning, what you just said. I will do it with the caveat that YouTube is motivated by market forces to have zero mistakes on this issue.
Yeah.
YouTube is trying as hard as they can. If you make a law right now saying that they have to be regulated, it would change nothing about what they do.
It would change things about what they do. One, they would not make compliance, and then there'd be a showdown, and the government would either have to follow through and issue fines or not. 2, in order to be in compliance, the government would have to have access to all the behind-the-scenes workings of YouTube to know whether or not they're doing what they ought to do. 3, the expense that it would add would mess with the YouTube economic model and would affect people's jobs and everything else. This is one of those things where, as a free market guy, I'm really encouraged by what you're telling me about what you heard from YouTube, because they're incentivized the right way to try to make the thing better. And I think this is the kind of thing that you're more likely to make better through financial incentive than by the clumsy force of the state.
Exactly. I'm going to make the video to try to explain that to everybody that's mad at the algorithm.
Wow. You're going to get absolutely wrecked.
I am.
Have you ever disabled comments on a video?
I haven't, and I'm not going to.
Okay.
This is truth.
Well, it is truth.
This is truth. And so nobody's saying the truth.
This is a gigantic freaking deal, dude.
I know it is, but it's more than that, because we're in the depths of the economics of it, right, and the engineering problem of it. But let's back out to the 30,000-foot view, and let's look over here to our left on the timeline of this podcast here, and let's remember where we started. We started talking
Tarzan?
to General Brown. No.
Oh, yeah.
We started talking to General Brown, who is saying, hey, there's a gray zone. Do you know the term fait accompli? It's a French term.
Yeah. I've heard people use it, but I'll sound dumb if I try to define it. Go ahead.
What it means is a fait accompli. I learned it from listening to General Brown talk. He said the idea of these cyber attacks for ideological reasons. Am I saying that word right, by the way? Is it ideological or ideal?
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
Ideological.
Yeah. So these attacks that are happening for ideological reasons are specifically to try to change people's minds so that you can, get a wedge in that crack in their society, and then you can just pound it with a hammer and split them wide open.
You mean like dropping a whole bunch of leaflets out of a bomber
Same thing.
onto a country you're thinking about?
Same thing, only no longer do you drop the leaflet and it flutters down from the sky. You inject it in a screen in the people's house that they watch privately alone.
And they don't know where it came from.
And they don't know where it came from.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
They think they thought of it.
This problem that we're talking about is not a military problem like I originally thought back when I was at RIMPAC listening to General Brown talk. As I unpack this onion, I realized that this touches markets, this touches politics, ideology, it touches censorship, it touches everything. And it all boils down.
Religion.
Yeah, it touches religion. And it all boils back to an engineering problem. An engineering countermeasure that's being developed to try to protect people from evil people. Is that fascinating or what?
You people rule the world.
What, who?
Engineers.
No, we don't rule the world.
All data and information used to pass through the desks and offices of ink-stained journalists. Now, that's not how it works. It's not about the journalist or what they compose. It's about who controls how the data gets out, for better or for worse. And I appreciate your characterization. I'm sold on your characterization that there's nobility in the task. But it's like anything else. You have people working on the other side with the exact same skill set, and there's not nobility in what they're doing. In a way, I'm kind of encouraged by this conversation, though, because it gives me a little bit of hope in who we are as a country, as the West, maybe even as the whole world, that maybe we don't hate each other quite as much as we think. Maybe this isn't quite as broken at the level of the heart as we might imagine. Have you ever been around somebody who's kind of screwing stuff up, but you know they're being manipulated?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, me too. That comes up from time to time. And you look at that, and you're like, oh, wow, this lady, this guy, and I, we're not that far apart. But there are forces acting on us that are putting us in a bad position here. It happens in business. It happens in family. This gives me hope that maybe that's more what's going on. That we've all been worked over a little bit, and we haven't all responded to it as well as we could have. But can engineers save us from our division?
Engineers are not known to be empathetic.
I've never heard that.
Engineers are not known to be socially dialed, but in this particular case, they are charged with creating algorithms to detect the subtleties of human deception.
Oh my goodness.
You understand how hard that is?
I understand how hard that is face to face. It's a huge part of my job. It's much harder when you put a bunch of ones and zeros as a mediator between you and the person you're trying to understand.
Exactly. What you're doing is, in an attempt to understand, going back to this Watchit.com, 1.6 million videos a month, and that's just on Watchit.com. In an attempt to understand that 1.6 million video number, which is mind-boggling in itself, you're converting every one of those videos to ones and zeros, like you said, and then you do things, and you parse that data, and you subcategorize it, and you separate the audio from the video, and then you start looking at individual images, and you hash those, and you compare those to other images of Trump, to other images of all these politicians, and all these whatevers. Then, through all that, you try to make rational decisions that don't anger an entire people group. And you do that at the rate of 60,000. Well, I don't know, what's uploaded to YouTube right now?
Oh, I can't keep track of the number. It's mortifying.
Yeah. So to expect those engineers to bat 1,000 is not only unreasonable, it's asinine.
And the alternative right now would be do nothing, in which case there would be no more YouTube. No one would use it. The market would give up on it.
Shut it down.
Yeah. So, for example, sometimes I'll Google a video that you made or I made or something to see where traffic's coming from. You get curious. And there's certain websites that hijack my content. Like, I don't know why some Russian content farm wants videos about theology, but they do it. They hijack it. They reframe it.
Do they really?
They repost it. Oh, yeah, all the time. I had hundreds of thousands of views on that How Voting Feels video from, like, all over the world. And I didn't get credit for any of that stuff. It got stolen by the right people and reframed, and I never could get ahead of it.
So YouTube calls this incentivized content, and Facebook and Twitter calls this coordinated and authentic behavior. And they're all knowing that it's happening. And what I think they're just now starting to realize is that if they work together, they can figure this stuff out more. So Twitter in particular was very quick to tell me security like this is a no-compete issue. So Facebook actually gave Twitter a pat on the back. In my interview, they said, hey, we recently took down a big group of this stuff because Twitter gave us a tip. Apparently, Twitter picked up the bat phone and called Facebook and said, hey, look at all this, and this. And then Facebook used that and acted on it and took down just a bunch of inauthentic behavior, which I thought was great. It's almost like a tech intelligence branch.
Yes. In terms of reputation, I think YouTube's is probably strongest, and it jockeys with position for Twitter, which has taken some hits in the last few months, up and down. I would say Facebook's reputation in terms of trustworthiness is probably third right now among those three. But I would say, generally speaking, on the one hand, most people hearing this are going to be like, that's not really who I want on the front lines. People have pretty strong feelings about Facebook, whether that's fair or not. But what's the alternative? Who else can be on the front lines? If you want an internet, somebody has to do this.
It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so let's think through the multi-domain operations. Sea, land, air, space, cyber. We have the Navy for the sea, the Army for land, Air Force handles air and space. I would be an advocate for a full-on cyber force. Ooh, I would be an advocate for something like that because it's already happening, dude. Let's don't kid ourselves.
Yeah, but you know what? I want accountability. Like, you say cyber force, all I hear is NSA. All I hear is, what? No, we don't. Why would we even look at your stuff? We don't care. It's not like we're going through your emails and your phone calls. Oh, well, here's a paper that says you are. Well, okay, well, it turns out we were, but I mean, why does it really matter? It's not like we even look at them. Okay, well, we actually do look at them, but I think there's some trust that's been lost. And recent polling, I saw a Gallup poll last month. I mean, for the first time maybe in ever, people view their own government in the United States as the biggest problem in their lives. And is that fair? Well, I think the government does a lot of things right, too. But some trust has been broken there. So the idea of a cyber force sounds nice, but man, I'd like to see some accountability on that we haven't seen from some of the other groups who operate in similar domains.
Can I add a little bit more color to that picture you're painting there?
Yeah, sure.
So you do realize that there are already cyber operations that happen within the military, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Come on.
Okay, you understand there's more happening than just government tapping phones kind of thing, right?
I do.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. By the way, I just straight up assume that because my phone has a transmitter on it and it has a camera, I just assume that it's at all times streaming pictures of me somewhere. Do you assume that?
I assume the same. Yep, and I maneuver and handle my phone in keeping with that.
So
when it's bidet time, I am very thoughtful about how my phone is positioned should I be holding it in my hands.
No, I mean, every once in a while, I like to make it fun for whoever's having to watch those images.
I don't think that would be fun for those
So,
people.
like when I'm in the shower, sometimes, I check social media in the shower. I'll throw my phone out of the shower, and I get out of the shower, and like in Halo, people would play, and then they would go, and they would squat over.
Oh, no. Oh, you do not. No, you don't. Oh, stop.
I just leave that to your imagination. It's like, what's up?
No, no one's imagining anything. You filled everything in. Yeah. All the dots are connected. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's problematic. Have you, everybody knows about 1984. Have you ever actually read the whole thing?
Yeah. How did I do it? Maybe I didn't read it. They have these viewing screens, right?
They do telescreens.
And telescreens are in your house. Yeah, I've read it because I know the whole story, and I didn't watch any kind of movie or anything. I remember reading it, and then there was this couple in there, and they liked each other, and then they were okay.
The Muse song "Resistance." I don't know this for sure. I've never looked into it, but I feel like the Muse song "Resistance" is about the main characters in 1984. That love is our resistance because love is basically outlawed and sexuality is outlawed. Everything is for the party in this imagined world of Oceania in the second half of the 20th century. But one of the things that really stood out to me was how different everyone's behavior became when they knew everything was being watched. And we're pretty flippant about it right now, or we try to be, or we make jokes about it. But I'm different in conversation since it became apparent that someone is always listening and since it became right to start acting like that. I'm different, and I don't think that's good. I really think freedom of human thought and expression is absolutely crucial, and even if it's not illegal to say things and think things, it might be later. I'm very, very troubled by that aspect of things. So I'm still pushing back a little bit on what exactly the cyber force would do. How exactly would the cyber force interact with, say, the First Amendment and speech issues? Because I don't really want a branch of the government making decisions about approved speech or not approved speech. If all they do is protect speech, full stop, that would be more interesting to me.
Can I go on a rabbit trail that is going to tickle parts of your brain?
I accept.
Google the word panopticon. So you said something there that I thought was very interesting. In 1984, you said the main characters behaved differently when they thought they were being watched at all times?
Well, they behaved differently because they knew they were being watched at all times.
There was a jail designed with this in mind. It's called a panopticon, and the idea is you could minimize the amount of oversight from an overseer and maximize the number of people that were being watched. But you weren't necessarily watching them at all times. All you had to do is create the possibility that they were being watched in order for them to change their behavior. So this panopticon was designed a long time ago by this architect, and it was a style for a jail. And imagine a circle, and you have these cells along the edge of the room in all directions. And you can have a multiple level jail with open walls towards the center. And as long as you put one guard in the center of the panopticon, that one guard could monitor all of the inmates at the exact same time.
Unreal.
And that guard could read a book, and just with one little glance of the eye, he could monitor any single prisoner in the entire building.
Wow, I'm scrolling through. I'm looking at pictures here. This is holy cow. This was designed by Jeremy Bentham. Do you know that name?
No, I don't.
How about John Stuart Mill?
No.
Okay.
Bring me up to speed. If I wanted to learn more about Jeremy Bentham, what should I read?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything you wrote.
Hmm.
Let's just Google it. Here, hang on a second.
What?
Anything on my shelves, and I don't
Jeremy
know.
Bentham's severed head on display.
What?
What?
Is that really a thing?
Dude, we're in the rabbit hole.
No, this is a good rabbit hole. Yeah, here we go. I'm just in the Wikipedia article. The fundamental axiom of his philosophy is that the greatest happiness of the greatest number is the measure of right and wrong.
Wow, that is ladder logic.
Yeah, so you can see that Bentham, he doesn't sound like my libertine live and let liveism that starts from the assumption that all people have value because people are created in the image of God. So people I agree with, people I disagree with, doesn't matter whether I like your ideas or not, you have value and you're allowed to think them. Bentham is more arriving in a similar place as me by saying we just add up the total amount of happiness. So I guess that's a hedonism to a degree of the most people, and we do that. My problem with utilitarianism, and the reason I wouldn't say I am that, is because you're going to shaft a certain minority of people whose happiness isn't drawn from the same things as the majority.
Interesting.
But I still couldn't name you one book that he wrote. Do you see anything here?
No.
Okay.
That's a fun little rabbit hole, right? So people
That's a very fun rabbit hole.
People
Thank you for
change
indulging me.
when they're being watched. We went to Panopticon, and then we went to Jeremy Bentham. And who was the other person?
Well, I just threw out another example of a utilitarian. John Stuart Mill is kind of the famous one.
Man. Okay, this was fun, dude. I feel like we could keep going, but
Yeah, well, I think we're going to. This is the second time that this topic has come up. You've been researching this and thinking about it for months. We've been talking about it. Maybe in a future conversation we could talk about, are you okay with people knowing that we gamed out the conclusion to your last video together?
yeah, that's fine. Which part?
Well, I mean the part about what do you do about it? And that's kind of where I'd like to end this conversation is it doesn't take a tremendous amount of thought to look at the world and say, oh man, that's a problem. Oh, that's so dark. Well, that's like 1984. But what do you do about it? I mean, you're connected to the internet. What are your options?
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, that was feedback I got from a lot of people. They're like, hey, this is doom and gloom. Give me something happy.
Yeah, but your video ends with that.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, your suggestion to just end the video and get out, that's exactly how I ended it. I think it's important, the things that we said, intentional unity is super important. What's really interesting to me is watching the people attack this video in the comments. It makes me wonder who they are. And their attacks are pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if I was the bad guy and I was trying to make people hate each other, and then there's this person that made a video just basically telling everybody my battle plan,
Yeah.
you got to try to inject some uncertainty in that, right?
Yeah, I would get out the crap Gatling gun and just indiscriminately fire it against the wall
Oh, exactly.
and hope stuff sticks. Yeah. Because of the BS asymmetry principle.
Exactly.
Throw chaos into the midst of order and let people have to figure out, what order of magnitude it's going to take to undo the BS.
Yeah, that's why the videos that I make on the YouTube algorithm issue, I may just address the comment section. I may just say that.
Might be wise.
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to scroll down. You're going to read a bunch of comments here. Some of those comments are going to be real, and some of those comments are going to be coordinated inauthentic behavior. And the reason they're going to be there is because the goal is to create uncertainty about what is true and what is not. Just say it that clear.
Yep.
It's really fun. It's really fun to try to figure this stuff out and try to discern the hearts of evil people and let's be honest. I mean, these people in developing nations trying to get money for their
Yeah, I was
families,
going to say.
that's not necessarily evil. They're just doing the best they can.
No. But what is an unfortunate mirror that is held up to us is that people in a developing country look at us and they're like, how can we get people to pay attention? Oh, these people are suckers for fighting with each other. Here you go. We'll just throw out stuff to bicker about. It doesn't matter what it is. They'll bicker. We'll get eyeballs.
Oh wow, these comments. I just pulled it up. The ones that are being filtered out automatically by YouTube are very.
Oh, you went to the auto blacklist, the held for review section.
Yeah, here's
okay. People don't know what that is. Third chair. When you have a YouTube channel, you have comments that just automatically post. They pass all the filters. Maybe you've got a banned words list. I have a few words I just would rather not see appear in my comment section. And anything that trips one of those filter triggers goes to my held for review section. And sometimes I get around to going and looking at those and approving some or agreeing with the filter that they should be deleted. But that is where the dumpster fire is.
Yeah, it is. So this is where I'm at right now. There's some interesting stuff in here. Imperialist pig, but interesting video. Hashtag hands off Venezuela.
What?
Yeah. There's someone referencing the 6 domains, the spiritual domain. That one got pulled. Oh, they left a YouTube link there. So this is a case where that might happen. So here's a person. They have a YouTube channel called Salt and Light, right? And they have.
Oh, that's a Bible reference.
It is, and they've left a comment here. There's a 6 domain, the spiritual domain, and they have a YouTube link here. And I have automatically filtered out anything that has a YouTube link in it because I don't want people linking offsite or to crazy stuff, right? And this is the kind of person that would probably get upset that they were suppressed.
Yeah.
I went to the link that they were going to link to, and it's like, it starts with angels singing and stuff. Yeah, so I don't want people linking away from
Yeah, that. Remember what I was describing earlier? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I get bombarded with that. Yeah, and here's a tip also for the third chair. If you want your comment to appear in a YouTube video, don't include links to other things.
Yeah.
The filter will almost always throw that out.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the video I made was propaganda?
Propaganda is one of those nutty words that has negative connotations, probably should, but it isn't always a historically negative thing. So I'll say part yes, but propaganda can also be truth. And so it's obviously being presented from the perspective of someone who likes his own country and has confidence in his own country's military. But what you're doing with the video is turning over cards and trying to point out truth. And that's a little different than what some of the negative propaganda of the past has been about. I don't feel like your video was trying to manipulate people. Let me put it that way. It was an anti-manipulation video that is still coming from a certain angle. I mean, you live in a country and you like certain things.
So Merriam-Webster, propaganda, noun. Looks like it was, at some point, a congregation of Roman curia having jurisdiction over missionary territories and related institutions. So that's if you capitalize the word. Apparently there was a thing called the propaganda. That's interesting.
Wow. I have a big area of subject matter, and I'm always learning new stuff. I've never heard that.
Okay, so definition number 2. Lowercase p, propaganda. The spreading of ideas, information, or rumor for the purpose of helping or injuring an institution, a cause, or a person. So, spreading ideas, information, or rumor. So I certainly was wanting to spread ideas and information for the purpose of helping an institution.
Yeah, if we're going with that definition,
then it was propaganda.
I'm not prepared to call it propaganda. No, information, especially of a biased or misleading nature. That's not what you just
It
made.
didn't say that.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, I'm looking at a different definition.
No. This says the spreading of ideas, comma, information, comma, or rumor. So there's an or there for the purpose of helping or.
Oh, how interesting.
Okay, third.
No, check this out, though. This is illustrating what I was saying about propaganda being a word that people aren't sure on the definition of. Because here's Google's definition of propaganda. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. That's their number one definition. So there you've got two pretty reputable sources that can't even agree on what this word actually means.
Let's be exact in our language here. When you said that is Google's definition, I don't think that's accurate. You're saying Google.com?
It's the definition that Google pulls up.
Okay, so let's...
And actually gives you as a Google search result.
The world I'm living in right now is I'm going to start attributing words to Google, like the company Google. So I have to be very careful with what I say, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. Who do you attribute? Is this dictionary.com? Who does Google use when they give you a return?
So this is another thing I'm learning. This next video I'm working on is with an organization called MediaWise, and it's about media literacy. And a lot of people just Google and they come up with the first thing they see, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's the facts. That's the information."
Of course.
And because things like Watch It exist in the text form, you have to be very careful with attributing sources.
You know what, though? This is confusing. Because, really, what is the source here? Let me Google this. Who does Google use for definitions? I don't know.
Oh, wow, you can't find...
There's nothing there. It's Google's definition, I'm telling you. I'm sure it's being drawn from a source, but it is not linked.
Yeah, it is Google's definition. You're right.
They're not linking it to anything else. I think my first read was the correct read. That is bizarre.
Oh, please,
Google's defining words.
Please forgive me for my tone. In hindsight, my tone sounds patronizing and arrogant.
A tiny bit like
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry, dude.
We know each other's dance steps.
Forgive me. Still, I apologize.
It's good, buddy. I know you are the knower.
You're awful.
A little bit. But really, back to the point. This whole episode, this whole conversation, has really been about propaganda, whether intentional or otherwise, countermeasures to propaganda. We remember some of what that looked like during World War II, though we didn't get into it deeply. And now here we are. You bring up the word. I tell you, I don't think people even agree on the definition. This is one of those really slippery words. You go to one website, I go to another website, and we arrive at, really frankly, very different definitions. Isn't it intriguing that we can't even agree on how to define the topic we're trying to discuss?
The waters are muddy, man.
They're muddy. I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Captain America propaganda?
I don't know. I don't understand Captain America. You get all these people with superpowers, and he's like, I've got a shield, and I was a soldier one time, so I'll just block bullets.
A shield that he throws. It's like the quintessential defensive weapon, but, well, if I'm really pushed, I can also throw it and hit you in the face with it.
It's just dumb.
And the analogy sort of breaks down as soon as you throw it.
I was Captain America for Halloween one time. Did
you wear underwear on the outside of your pants?
I did not. That's a good idea, though.
Well, then you didn't get it right, but nice try. So what happened?
So explain Captain America to me. Who is, you know his name, don't you? His actual name.
Steve Rogers. Come on, everybody knows his name. The third chair was shouting in unison at you when you asked that question.
Sorry, I didn't know.
It's all right. You're still a good man.
I know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I know Clark Kent is Superman. I know Bruce Wayne is Batman. Yes. These are all Marvel characters. No, wait. No, don't. That's DC, right? They're all
Those
DC.
Those are both DC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's Iron Man's name?
Iron Man. Oh my gosh.
You got this.
Oh my gosh.
First name Tony.
Tony Stark. Okay.
Okay, that's pretty good. What's the Hulk's real name?
The Hulk he's a professor.
Yeah.
Oh golly, it's like two names together.
Yeah. Remember why Wade's dad named him Wade?
Wade Watts. Yeah.
Because it's same initial in the superhero.
Because it's sound like a superhero thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I don't know who the Hulk is.
Bruce
Banner.
Bruce Banner. See, there you go. You got all this stuff rattling around there. Okay, we're not quite done here yet. Okay, one more.
What's Superwoman's name?
I don't know. I don't like DC. What's Wolverine's real name?
Did you just hand wave everything? All this stuff is hyper important, except the things I don't like. I'll hand wave those away. Those are not important.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think we can all agree that is how this works. You bring up stuff, and I just, dude.
She has an invisible jet.
Interested, brother. Superwoman does not have an invisible jet. You're thinking of Wonder Woman, dude. Wonder Woman's name is Diana.
Oh, my gosh. I look like an idiot right now, don't I?
Oh, my goodness. I don't even know where to start with how disappointing that is. I mean, holy cow, man. Like, that's the second time in, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
You've scolded me, and you were just, like, not right at all? I don't know. I still want to be friends, but dang, dude.
Who is Superwoman?
That one I really don't know. That's getting too far down the rabbit hole for me.
Okay, so Wonder Woman is the thing.
Yeah.
God, I feel like an idiot.
But Wolverine. Did you get Wolverine? Do you have Wolverine?
Oh, yeah, Wolverine's Logan.
Just Logan. Yeah, there you go.
That's it. It's just Logan?
Yeah, you did pretty well. I don't think you should feel any shame.
You know what?
Maybe a little shame.
You know, in all seriousness, we talked about all this super complex, like, geopolitical, huge things, all these big things, and, like, my brain really loves it, and I like trying to figure it out. And then I got a little anxiety there when we started going through the superhero characters. You're so much better at pop culture than I am.
I don't know about that, but it makes me happy that you feel anxiety over really pressing, important things like that.
I really do.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. You came off great. I can't think of anything that if I were you, I'd like to go back and do differently. I think you were great. So a whole bunch of you have decided that you want to go miles above and beyond and support this program financially, which is ridiculously, incredibly generous.
And encouraging.
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth, literally. It just means a ton to know that many people on the internet resonate with what we're doing and are a part of the conversation enough that you want to participate this way. So, super thank you. And we've done stuff in the past. We did 50-cent pieces a while back. Maybe that's something we should do again. That was pretty cool with the certificates that we did a few months ago. We've done this ridiculous gimmick with the 50-50, which I think is one of the worst ideas in the history of the internet, but yet we haven't taken it down.
It's a great idea.
And
it was a wonderful idea.
It was a good idea when I was sitting at that Arby's by the interstate in Utah.
Whatever.
I don't know. There were a lot of disemboweled things. Whatever the case, we just got talking just now and goofing around with, like, what do you even call it? What were we doing there? Like,
let me explain it.
Okay.
I figured out that this voice thing that you do, like, you're really good at voices, abnormally good at voices.
Thanks.
And I just pulled that string a little bit as to why you're good at voices and all that stuff. It turns out there's more to the story than I expected. So we just recorded a little mini segment, and we don't really have a place where it can logically go in an episode, because this is a pretty long episode as it is. But I thought it'd be cool to offer that up to patrons, because, so you have something extra that you get for being a patron on Patreon. I think I don't know, I just think it'd be cool. Can we do that?
Yeah, so we just put it on there, like, for patrons at any level, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions. Let me spell the whole thing out.
Yep, that's true.
Total blatant gimmick, because absolutely blatantly we're asking for you to consider being a part of it in that way. But even if that's not your thing, we're still super grateful that everybody's here and just listening and being a part of the show. So, thanks.
Yeah, totally. So, patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions. What should we call it? Like Matt Voices or something like that?
No, we're going to decide that later. I'm not committing to it right now.
All right. Just give him a taste of the Telemundo announcer. Do it now. Do it. You're like opening the desk drawer and you're pulling out a little, like, stick-on mustache, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. La Reina del Sur, segunda temporada estrena mundial. Dang it, I don't know how to say that number.
What was that?
Does that count?
What did you say?
It's for a show on
Temporado. I heard temporary.
It's a new series that's starting on the 22nd of April. Only on Telemundo.
You rolled that R like a boss, man. I can't do that.
You gotta be ready, man.
How do you do that? Oh, well, we talked about that.
Really? You can't roll that R?
I can't. Hold on. I have to have a certain amount of spit going on. Right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's easier when you're doing the Telemundo voice. Let me tell you, it just...
Well, you gotta have the mustache. I don't have a mustache that I can stick on like that.
Yeah, okay, you're making sense.
Anyway, do this, Matt. So tell everybody the Patreon URL, but in the Telemundo announcer voice.
Yeah, it'd be my great honor.
Yeah.
Apoya el programa en patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions.
Did you say patreon.com?
Yeah, that's what you say. You say .com.
Is that what they say?
Apoya el programa en patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions.
Dude, like, in my head, you are wearing a mustache, and you got,
absolutely.
like, really big... it's just hard to...
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Really?
So if you want to understand how Matt learned to do that stuff, we'll leave that little segment over at patreon.com/NoDumbQuestions. That's impressive, dude.